and if he couldn't be efficient against the Titans, I don't think he's going to be efficient against the Colts.
Yeah, I think all of that's fair. I mean, what has changed for the Colts? They've allowed you, Mr. Bandwagon, to jump on board. Like, if you want to know if there's a way to sort of tell, hey, how is this team doing? Is Jay in or out on them?
I'm in.
Like, right, exactly. Like you bailed on your.
I'm full to shoot.
Yeah, exactly. You bailed on your Saints and Giants pretty quickly, and now you're a Colts man.
It's a good call.
Yeah,
go for it time.
Ultimately, yeah. So anyway, Bandwaggy Jay is in on the Colts.
Fantasy Football Happy Hour with Matthew Berry.
Happy Friday. Welcome to the Fantasy Football Happy Hour. Connor Rogers, Matthew Berry, and Jay Croucher.
Bandwaggy.
I liked Bandwaggy.
Bandwaggy Jay.
Bandwaggy Jay. Yeah. Proud Colts fan.
For the shoe. I've always been for the shoe. Yeah.
Some of your takes.
I was actually a Colts fan back in 2021 as well, and then Carson Wentz screwed me in week 17 against the Jags when he lost to 17.
I remember that game. I remember that game.
That game cost me more money than any game in NFL history. It was brutal. It was absolutely
more than
brutal.
it was Joe Flacco against the Jets.
I'll actually never forget being at that game. It was a big swing, Bethy. Big swing. Made DeMar Hamlin look like a drop in the ocean.
Really?
And I'm standing at Shake Shack at the airport in Denver with my family, so we have to get on a long flight to Europe, which is just a great way to live down a relationship. And I order food for the kids, and my wife's like, Jay, do you want any food? And I was like, doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter. We're like, we can't afford it anymore.
Food is no longer a concept that resonates with me.
Kids, make this last because Daddy has no more money to feed you. I remember that game because I remember how frustrated it was. Like just a month later, that the Commanders decided to trade like a third to go get that guy and pay him a lot of money.
I'll never forgive Carson Wentz. Never forgive him.
Yeah, I don't blame you. Bandwaggy Jay is a pretty good nickname. Brandon De La Torre says, Bandwaggy Jay a year too early on the Giants making the playoffs. Yeah, one of the issues of being a bandwaggy guy like this is that sometimes you jump off too quickly.
Right. Never wrong, just early.
Yes, jumped off the Saints too early as well. 1-4, chance to go to 2-4 at some point. Giants look, I don't think they're going to make the playoffs. I did place some bets on this year's Giants to make the playoffs too. I don't think it's going to happen, but they looked good last night.
Yeah, they did.
They look better than the Eagles too.
And the Eagles got some problems. I mean, we're going to get into it, but buddy. Yeah. They got some fantasy football problems, some real life problems across the board. We got a lot today. We got what's on tap. We're going to answer your questions. Shout out to the regulars because this is the day we power rank the regulars. About time some of you get into the top 10. We'll get there. Denny's going to join us for your Flexual Frustrations. Jay and I have pickup lines for Matthew, but we have to kick off things with last night as you look at Cam Skattebo at the top with 31 fantasy points. Shout out to everybody that started Cam Skattebo on a huge night for the Giants offense. We got to hear from the man himself on the big game against the Eagles.
They were the Super Bowl champs last year. You know, there's a whole new season this year, so it's hard to win twice in a row. So props to them. They're a great football team. You know, we see them in another week and a half or 2 weeks. I'm excited to play them again. But like I said, you know, this is a season that we need to keep continuing to build on.
Can you sense the spark you give this team with your running style and obviously your production too?
Yeah, I feel it. But there's a spark that comes from a lot of guys too. You know, Jaxson brings a spark. Those guys that in the receiver room that stepped up today and made some great catches, some huge catches on third down, and you know, continuing to build is what we need to do and play as a team. 11 guys are on the field at once, and we all have to play together, and everyone has to be perfect to execute. So, props to all of them, and great job today.
What I appreciate about Cam Skattebo is every time after he scores, it just turns into like a gymnast fest.
Yeah.
He starts doing flips and cartwheels, and it's awesome.
It's unbelievable. He's not going to – it's a young man's game. I don't see him doing that.
Yes, it absolutely is. Cam Skattebo drinks for free, by the way. What a spark for this Giants offense. It's not just Jaxon Dart. It is absolutely what he's brought as well. The battering ram, Matthew.
I don't want to – you know, I mean, it's the NFL, right? Any given Sunday, even though it was a Thursday night. So you never, right? Any given Sunday, any given day, one NFL team can beat another. But the idea that this Giants team, on a short week against the defending Super Bowl champions, without Malik Neighbors, without Darius Slayton, they're down to like their third-string wide receivers, like Lil Jordan Humphrey. Who knew he was even on the Giants?
Almost had a touchdown. Really should have had a touchdown.
Should have had a touchdown. And yet, Jaxson Dart. And I think this is his third NFL start. And his third NFL start in Cam Skattebo, who, you know, sort of the draft pundit said is not built to be an every down back in the NFL. Like those two guys, and like credit to the defense, like we'll talk about the whole game, but like not only beat the Eagles, but spanked them. Like that game wasn't close. They were clearly the more dominant team. And when you think about the issues on the offensive line for the Giants and just, again, how loaded the Eagles are top to bottom, I get it. Mitchell, Jalen Carter, I get that they had some injuries and some guys missing, but still, that was an ass-kicking. And, again, Bandwagon Jay, you jumped off too quickly. The G-men, Big Blue, might be back.
Well, here's the thing. So one thing, we're like 5 days removed from the Saints handling the Giants. Okay?
That's the insane part.
Speaking of any given Sunday.
So here's the thing. It was a great win. The Giants played great.
Yeah.
I think this says more about the Eagles. Eagles aren't any good. They're just not good at the moment. They have a below-average offense and a below-average defense, particularly when Quinion Mitchell and Jalen Carter out there.
Yeah.
The team just looks broken. They're 4-2. It's a fraudulent 4-2. They should have
lost to the Rams.
Yeah.
And they easily could have lost to the Bucs.
Easily could have lost to the Cowboys.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Could have lost to the Chiefs. Like they should. I think 3-3 would probably be the most fair record, but 2-4 would be more reflective than 4-2 based on what this team has done so far. But look, credit to the Giants. To your point, like Malik Neighbors is the best player on the team. He's not out there. But Cam Skattebo, it's not just that he's like a novelty. He's just a really good player. Like all the underlying stuff about Skattebo has been great. Tyrone Tracy coming back didn't materially impact his workload enough. So, I mean, is he like a borderline RB1 going forward?
I'd probably rank him more as a legit RB2. But look, to your point about the usage, 3 straight games now with at least 21 touches. And in that stretch, 14 red zone touches, 8 goal line rushes in that game, 5 straight games with at least 13 fantasy points. Since week 2, he's the 7th best running back in fantasy football. Now, that has been kind of propped up by these touchdowns. Like, I mean, he's, like, it's not like he's scoring these long touchdowns, like, but they are getting in close, and they're giving it to him, and he is converting. And this offense under Jaxon Dart can move the ball. When Jaxon Dart was named the starter, go back and watch the tape. I was just like, Jaxon Dart is a top 12 quarterback from moment one. We talked about it in the preseason, Connor. I remember when you drafted Dart, I was like, you drafted in our 2-quarterback league, you drafted Flacco and Dart. I'm like, that actually makes a lot of sense as a quarterback because Flacco will be decent until he loses the job, and then Dart will come in, and Dart's going to be a top 12 guy as soon as he gets an opportunity. And I think, they talked about this on the broadcast, and I think there's some truth to it, like, because we saw it last year with the Commanders. Like, one guy, again, Skattebo's been great, but it is because of Jaxon Dart and the spark that he has given this entire offense that I think everyone's sort of buying in.
Oh, there's a different energy in the stadium. And I felt like the Eagles defensively, like their will was kind of broken in the second half last night.
It's completely insane.
Skattebo's running through people. Dart's propelling himself headfirst in defenders at the sticks. Like
it's not just the production, but it's the feeling and everything like that. And I get it. I mean, they just lost to the Saints 5 days ago. So it's just sort of crazy. But Aloha Brick's asking, can Cam keep this production up for the rest of the season? Yes, but... Again, like I think he's a little bit too touchdown dependent. He's not used enough in the passing game for me to say yes, he's an RB1. Like he needs to, like his scoring without touchdowns is, it's fine, but it's not like otherworldly. Right? Yeah. There are running backs out there that like. Jonathan Taylor doesn't need touchdowns to, Chris McCaffrey doesn't need touchdowns to be fantasy productive, right? Those guys, the Bijan Robinsons of the world. Cam Skattebo, at least to date, needs that. Again, he had an under 8% target share in a game in which the Giants moved the ball at will, and there was no Malik Neighbors or Darius Slayton. Like it's, in a game in which the options were like Lil Jordan Humphrey and Jalen Hyatt and Theo Johnson, he still earned less than an 8% target share last night, Skattebo. Yeah. Again, they had the pick six. I mean, so I think he's a legit RB2.
Yeah,
is what I would rank him like as running back 18 the rest of the season, somewhere in that range.
I would agree with that. Also, it is one of the hardest schedules in football, and they beat the Eagles last night. So let's be fair to the Giants, but you're going to see Denver, the Niners, the Packers, the Lions. Like, I'm not saying that
at Denver, at Philadelphia, home to San Francisco. Those are the next 3.
Right, exactly. So I'm with you all the way on the RB2 aspect, and you need Jaxon Dart to stay healthy. He's got to protect himself because you don't want Russ back in there with Skattebo.
Did you see? It's so funny. There's an Instagram account called NFL IG Memes. And I don't know who runs it, but those guys are hilarious, or women. I don't know who runs it, but they're amazing. They never miss. They're mean. But they had one today where they showed footage of Dart in the blue tent, and they just noticed that, like, after seeing Russell Wilson throw one pass, the entire team, and you just saw, like, Skattebo checked in, like, three different coaches.
Ran in there.
Dayball ran in.
Dayball was yelling at the team doctor.
I know.
It's not his choice.
3 different coaches went in there, like a couple other players, other personnel, assistant coaches.
It's a bad indictment on
Russ.
Russ.
Is he okay? It's like we can't.
There's a bad indictment on Russ.
Bad indictment.
I've never seen that before.
Yeah, I didn't like. Russell Wilson's supposed to be a good backup quarterback. People want the Bengals to trade for Russell Wilson. Like, the look of terror on Brian Daboll's face, it was like when one of my kids starts like running around in the car park. It's like, how's this going to end? Like, Brian Daboll, he couldn't get Jaxson Dart in there faster. Jaxson Dart was playing his 3rd game. Russell Wilson was your starter.
Yeah, throw some smelling salts in there and get him out there. I don't care. Anything. It's weird to me, Connor, and we're all over the place here, but don't you, like, how bad must Jameis be? That they, like, again, like, seriously, like, Russell Wilson came in for one pass. It was just this, like, lame duck pass.
Right.
I don't know if it got tipped at the line of scrimmage. They didn't really show a replay, but, like, it was bad pass, and then immediately they get Dart back out there. But, like, how bad could Jameis be at this point?
I wonder if they just can't get rid of Russ right now, and they don't want to kind of, like, putting him as QB3 would just be...
It would be a bit of a slap to the face. He's also, he might have lost 50% of his trade value on that one throw.
Well, I mean, think about it. The Bengals just traded for what is left of Joe Flacco, okay? Like, think about that for a second.
Yeah,
because they think Joe Flacco can run the offense that they've installed. I don't think anybody looks at Russ like that anymore. He could throw up a couple deep balls, but he's not a guy that runs an offense within rhythm.
It's also, maybe it's a respect. I will tell, like, again, I've met Russell Wilson a handful of times, and not even like, I've met him like a couple of times socially, not like sitting down to an interview kind of thing. And the reason I bring that up is like, so like it's one thing with an interview, so everyone's sort of on their best behavior, generally speaking, in an interview. But like I've met him socially, like I've met him like late at night at a bar. He is unbelievably nice. Like he's a hard guy to hate. Like I'm dead set. Like you meet him and you're just he's a genuinely decent human being. At least that's always been my experience, and that's what I've heard from other. Like he is a genuinely decent human being, and so I suspect, especially at this stage of his career, humbled a little bit after Denver didn't work out, that I could see him in Pittsburgh. That I could see him in the. He's probably well liked within the Giants, you know, and it sounds like he's been a complete professional and losing his job to Jaxson Dart. Yeah. So maybe you just don't want to like
totally embarrass the guy,
and everything like that. But it was tough. I will just say this. Producer Steven in my ear, finally off of his 3-day Jags bender, saying we should talk about Jaxson Dart. But, like, what am I going to say about Jaxson Dart that I haven't been saying for a effing month? He's a top 12 fantasy quarterback. He is a QB1. The question is like, oh, is he now a QB1 going? He's been a QB1. He's been a QB1 this entire time.
You said it before he started a game. You said he's a top 12 quarterback the rest of the season. And I kind of looked at you like, oh, that's a little bold, and so far it's exactly what he's been.
Since taking over as a starter week 4, he's the 13th best quarterback in points per game. He's averaging 19.7. He's had at least 50 rushing yards in all 3 starts. That was my bet yesterday was Jaxson Dart over on the rushing. I said over on 27.5. It closed at 29.5. He blew past both of those. He's a lunatic, exactly. At least so, and you know that the 20-yard touchdown run, the first one of the game, was unbelievable. So again, you see it right there on the screen. Like when you can do that against the Eagles, and again, I get it. The Eagles' defense was missing 2 key starters, but still, he was. Like, I didn't even know little Jordan Humphrey was on the team. Like, I mean, seriously.
That excuse just doesn't really work for what the Giants are dealing with as well. Julio, thank you. Our producer, Steven slander will not be tolerated. The Jaguars being good is an equinox once-in-a-lifetime event.
All right.
That's
so,
fair.
Okay, so this is great. This is actually helpful because we have found Steven D'Agostino's
burner account.
Yeah. I didn't know Julio think you are, but of now found it.
Explains why he's on the top 10 of the
That's
happy hour
exactly
regulars.
right.
Also, so people know, Steven is the one who chooses for that comment to appear.
Of course.
Literally.
Especially on Fridays.
Of course.
It's not a backup producer Pete day.
Julio,
Don't get me started on him right now.
Backup producer Pete is on cloud 9.
Noted Giants fan.
Noted Giants fan.
Let's have a glass of water.
Yeah.
And maybe a Gatorade mixed in with it.
But Julio, I want you to understand. Like, we're happy for the Jaguars. You know, a lot of friends over in that organization. but producer Steven Slander has been and will continue to be, as long as I'm alive, a part of the show, a part of the ethos of Fantasy Football Happy Hour. As long as the show exists, there will always be producer Steven Slander. Make no mistake.
Exactly. DiCaprio on Wall Street. The show goes on.
Yes.
Producer Steven Slander will remain.
We need it. We absolutely need it. All right, somehow back to this game. I do want to get back to the original question there of just Dart being a QB in that tier 1. I think it's beyond just what he's shown so far.
There's just, because of the rushing, there's a floor. It didn't matter the fact that he didn't even have Slayton. And not that Slayton's that great, but you felt like, okay, well, that's at least somebody, right? But he made Wan'Dale Robinson productive, right? Second game of the season with over 20 fantasy points for Wan'Dale Robinson, 27% target share. Wan'Dale looked good. The touchdown was great there. But he didn't get a ton of production from Theo Johnson, but these are all cliches, but it's true. There's a guttiness to him. There's a moxie. There's a swagger. This is going to sound insane, but he sort of reminds me of Baker Mayfield.
Well, they think they can win behind him.
Yeah,
and that's not a cliche in the NFL. That's a real thing.
Yeah,
I think the Bucs play that way with Baker Mayfield, like you just said. I think there's a lot of quarterbacks like that where you go out there and go, oh, we're going to probably win today, or we think we can win today.
Well, that's where, you guys make fun of me as being a homer, but that's where the whole faith in 5 thing came from, with Jaden Daniels. He turned that franchise around. Credit to Dan Quinn and Cliff Kingsbury and everyone, but Jaden Daniels came in, they were just all of a sudden, the past 20 years were we can win with this guy. Yep. I have faith in 5 that it's going to work out no matter what's happening to the game. Of course, they had, 6 crazy comebacks last week. But there are quarterbacks like that just
galvanize a team.
That galvanizes a team. And so Dart, just because of the frenetic nature of it and sort of the unconventional running, that's why he sort of reminds me of Baker Mayfield. By the way, pretty accurate. I think.
I thought he looked awesome last night. I thought he looked as good as I've ever seen him play, and I've been watching him for a couple of years now. He just was confident. He was throwing with anticipation. I think some of the complaints or critiques of him as a prospect was there's times where he likes to see it open. Last night he was throwing guys open.
He was throwing guys open with 3 guys in his face.
Right.
So that one third down to Theo Johnson on the right side of the field, as he's got guys he played out of his mind.
He's elevated his game without a doubt.
And this may be hyperbole. Again, there's still 2-4. We got a lot of football left. But I think there's an argument to be made that regardless of what happens with the Giants this season, that Brian Daboll last night saved his job. And here's my argument. Because I think, and you're a better judge of this than I am, but I think
I'm in the New York media.
What?
I'm in the New York media.
You are part of the New York media. You are a Sports Emmy losing member
but nominated.
of the New York nominated.
Twice
nominated.
Twice losing.
2-time losing.
Yes.
Sports Emmy.
That's right.
Exactly.
Right. I'm Josh Allen. I come this close every year.
Every close.
Yep.
Todd Zeal, a.k.a. Patrick Mahomes.
Exactly. See? Perfect comp.
Exactly right.
I just can't get over the Todd Zeal hump.
He's your Mahomes.
Yeah. Nobody will give me – all that matters for my standards is I win the Emmy over Todd Zeal.
Yeah.
But anything less than that's a bad season.
100%. You're going to need Todd Zeal to retire. To take himself out of the running. And
I know.
But what I was going to say about Daboll here is that that I think Jaxson Dart is playing better as a pro than even the most optimistic scouting had on him as a guy coming out of college.
This early?
This early, Game 5 or whatever his career. He was a late-round, first-round pick, and a lot of draft pundits were like, that seems a little early for Jaxson Dart. Right. We had a day 2 grade on him.
Right.
I mean,
absolutely.
He was not a locked-in first-round pick the way everyone was like Cam Ward's going in the first, and so I think, okay, so then why is that? Why has Jaxson Dart been able to elevate his game behind a suspect offensive line, losing the one, true elite weapon he had in the passing attack early on? And I think you have to give some credit to the coaching staff that they have put him in a position to succeed. And so if I am the ownership of the Giants, I'm like, listen, this kid's the franchise, and I don't want to screw that up. Who wants to bring in a different offensive system? You know what I mean?
Without a doubt.
I think that's my argument there.
And I think you see it all the time with him and Brian Daboll. It's almost very theatric and dramatic at times, but I think it's a very real thing.
Yeah. No, he hugs him. Thank you for saving my job.
Yes. Holds his head. Even slapped him after a concussion test. I was like, all right, settle down.
I'm a Daboll fan. I think Daboll has been dealt a bad hand in New York for much of his tenure there. I think he's a good coach.
I think he's done a better job than the GM that's drafting the players.
Yeah.
And I understand you can counter, well, Joe Schoen had a hand drafting Jaxson Dart. I'm talking about the roster.
For sure.
It's been a bad roster for too long, and it finally feels like it's turning now.
Yeah. For sure. They inherited a bad situation from Gettleman, and then they stupidly won the first year, and they had to sign Daniel Jones. And whatever, we go through a whole thing. But let's go over to the Eagles, because I think moving forward, you're starting Dart, you're starting Skattebo, Wan'Dale Robinson, very viable, flex wide receiver. Moving on, quiet game for Theo Johnson, but had a couple of tough drops. Not worried about him moving forward. Still a top 15-ish tight end. Let's talk about Philadelphia here, guys, because these are tough times.
So, to me, the Eagles' offense is the most interesting unit in all of football right now. Saquon Barkley was saying last night that basically everyone knew what we were doing last year as well, and it didn't matter. So why does it matter? It seems like it's a point of controversy within the Eagles, the fact that they only have 10 plays, and people are arguing both sides. It's how is this an argument? You need more plays. It's only good if you have some element of surprise.
Right.
It's just insane.
Yeah.
And last night, it just seemed to really all come to the fore. This has been a below-average offense this year.
Sure.
Last year, it doesn't matter. Yeah, maybe they did know everything and you were just out-talenting people, but you have to be able to add different strings to your bow. And the issue is last night, Saquon started off hot. They were ripping off runs early on.
Yeah.
And then after that dried up. And then it's just Hurts throwing go balls to A.J. Brown again. It's been the same thing, and they're just not getting away with it anymore.
They have no, break glass in case of emergency. They just kind of do the same thing over and over again and expect different results, and it's not working, and I think the body language is terrible. I mean, A.J. Brown's post-games are must-watch TV every single time. Speaking of post-games, before we continue on with this, I do want to hear from Jalen Hurts because he did take on all the blame for the offensive problems in Philadelphia.
I got to be better. Got to be better. I take ownership for it. A lot of autonomy, a lot of opportunity there with the ball in my hands, and given those situations, I have to be wiser and more detailed with it. So, always looking inward first. Looking inward on the things that I can control, and I see a lot of opportunity in this. I give a lot of credit to how they came out and played today. They played a very, 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 very well game, and wasn't good enough on our end.
I give him credit for that.
Yeah, I mean, you got to own it.
He owned it. Yeah,
you got to own it. Well, when the last two games, which they've lost both, they haven't been able to throw the ball in any kind of comeback mode or second half, and that's on him right now. There's no way. I mean, there are times where he has 9 seconds to make a throw. And there's nothing there.
This team has maybe the best offensive line in football still. Jalen Hurts is a Super Bowl MVP. A.J. Brown, Devontae Smith are two of the best starting points you could ask for in a passing game. Right now, they're 24th in EPA per play as a passing offense.
It's unfathomable.
It's just completely incomprehensible. And, they've played some tough defenses like Denver, but they've also played the Giants. They also played the Cowboys. By the way, our man Russell Wilson looked like God against the Dallas Cowboys, and Jalen Hurts, the passing game, couldn't do anything. This scheme just seems like it's just reached the end of the rope already, and there's just that. Do you think it's going to get better, Connor?
I'm not confident right now. Better because it's been so bad the last 2 weeks. Maybe better to the point where you get returns on what you invested in A.J. Brown. No. Returns where you get what you invested in Saquon Barkley. Probably not. Jalen Hurts, the tush-push factor keeps him obviously very fantasy relevant, but no, it feels like this offense is stuck in the mud, and they don't have the solutions, and I don't see why you'd expect them to arrive at this point.
They're just, they can't seem to. Teams, it feels like, are saying, we're going to make sure we stop Saquon Barkley, and we'll take our chances with Jalen Hurts in the passing attack. Yeah. And, it feels like they've just we'll do single coverage. And so far that's been working the last 2 games. Saquon Barkley's had less than 15 touches in back-to-back weeks. That happened one time last year.
Yeah.
One time. And, again.
A.J. Dillon out there. That was great.
That was a bad fumble.
You want some garbage Saquon points, and instead you get A.J. Dillon just fumbling.
He's been under 10 fantasy points 2 of the past 4 games. He hasn't had a 20-point fantasy game at any point this season. 12 for 58, only 3 targets. So he's not involved in the passing game. He's not breaking up the long runs like he did last year, which is one of the concerns we had. Is if he's not breaking up the long runs, we know he's not really involved in the passing game, and he's got competition at the goal line for touches. In terms of obviously the tush push, and even last night, they did a shovel pass to Dallas Goedert instead of giving it to Saquon Barkley. They hate Saquon.
That was the best play they've run in weeks.
That's right.
Who would you rather have, Derrick Henry, Saquon Barkley, or Cam Skattebo?
Saquon.
Still Saquon. Probably still Saquon.
Still Saquon again, because Skattebo's not involved in the passing game, and Derrick Henry just,
Yeah. They're in the same, I think they're in the same ballpark.
The fact you fairly ask it.
The fact that I had to take a second tells you all you need to know.
Quinshon Judkins or Saquon Barkley?
Still Barkley.
I'm still going to take Saquon, but these are fair, reasonable questions.
But that's a legit question.
They're like fringe RB1s, high-end RB2s.
Yeah.
You know what's tough, too, with Saquon when you want the check down points? It feels like Hurts is so late to go to the check down that Saquon catches it and he gets killed. Every time. It's not like a swing pass or a design screen.
Saquon Barkley or Bucky Irving, currently hurt, but awesome when he...
Right.
Like, he's probably going to be back in he's going to be back in 1 week. He's going to probably miss this week, and then he's back in another week. But if I offered you Bucky Irving right now, or Saquon?
Probably Saquon still, just because of the injury uncertainty, and maybe they mix in more Rachaad White, who's looked good. But yeah, close. Again, similar ballpark.
I'll just say, the last thing I'll say here, and then we'll move off of this game here, much to the chagrin of backup producer Pete, who is watching this.
He's taken over the control room.
He has. He came into work without pants today. I'm just letting you know. It was upsetting. What I will say, though, is for our purposes, I don't know that there's anything you can do. Obviously, you can't do anything right now because they've played. You can't trade them or anything like that. But I think listen, Hurts ultimately still is a viable QB1. Goddard has been unbelievable. Right. Goddard, by the way, is the second best tight end in fantasy so far. So Goddard's been terrific. A.J. Brown, I think you're still rolling him out here. We said keep him open. He had 6 for 80 in this game. Again, because their defense is showing signs of cracking, that they're going to have to pass more, right? And so, but A.J. Brown is not right. He's not what you drafted him to be. You have to level set expectations.
Yeah.
Rest of the season, A.J. Brown or Wan'Dale Robinson.
A.J. Brown.
Oh, come on.
A.J. Brown. Come on.
Sick man.
Yes, okay. But you had to think about it for a second. No, come on.
I like that one. It's like a trap question.
Wan'Dale Robinson or Devontae Smith? Now it's a little closer.
It's been really hard times being the third pass-catching option in the Eagles' offense.
Yeah, tough as well. Devontae should have had an 89-yard touchdown last night, and Hurts has missed him pretty badly.
This is the issue.
Yeah.
You can't
As somebody who
miss
took
that throw.
Devontae Smith over 50.5 receiving yards, and he finished at 49, I was unbelievably frustrated with Devontae Smith.
By the way, the worst moment of my last night was backup producer Pete copy and pasting the same Cordell Flott text message to multiple groups.
And you're in all of them?
It's not good. It's not good. I can't have multiple Cordell Flott. The same content as well. Let's get new Cordell Flott content for each group.
You got to divvy up the content per group chat.
Backup producer Pete is in too many group chats. There's no question.
He loves them too. Like when somebody gets cut in our guillotine league, he announces who it was.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Every time, which I really like. I appreciate, but I also find it very funny.
Yeah, he's no good, Pete.
And there's no tier of who he does it to. Like our boss Alexa, he still announces that she got cut from the league.
Alexa is way too patient.
Yes, she deals with a lot of
with Pete, with me,
stray animals.
Poor Alexa.
All right, let's look at the Week 6 injuries we're tracking, because this list, not a lot of fun. Lamar Jackson with that hamstring injury. He didn't practice yesterday. Kyler Murray could be out with a foot injury. Brock Purdy still dealing with a toe injury that I don't know if that's going to go anywhere this year with how it's lingered. Chuba Hubbard's been dealing with that calf injury. He's in jeopardy of missing a second week. Could be Uncle Rico time, part 2. Alvin Kamara with an ankle. Xavier Worthy practiced Wednesday, I believe, but missed Thursday with that shoulder and ankle injuries he's been dealing with. Terry McLaurin with the quad. Chris Godwin showing up with the fibula. It doesn't seem like he's going to play, man.
No, he's literally just came. Yeah. Greg Allman just tweeted out Mike Evans, Chris Godwin, Bucky Irving all out for the game this week.
Jauan, Jennings, and Brock Bowers. We'll get through all of these almost one by one. Let's start with Lamar Jackson here, because he didn't practice on Thursday. It feels like it's going to be a Cooper Rush game. You see this from Adam Schefter. Once again, no Lamar Jackson at today's practice, putting Cooper Rush in line to start Sunday against the Rams.
What could go wrong? What could possibly go wrong?
Great against the Texans.
The line, by the way, there is Rams -7.5 in Baltimore, which gives great confidence that at least the market has great confidence Lamar will not play. I suspect that might actually end up bigger than 7.5. Is anyone taking
close at 9?
Yeah. Is anyone taking Cooper Rush plus 7.5 against Puka Nacua?
Spoiler alert for pickup lines. We'll have more on that. So probably no Lamar. The Ravens.
Yeah.
I mean,
I think you probably still have to start Zay Flowers. And I don't know about Derrick. I'm in our league. I'm going to start Derrick Henry because I don't have any other options.
So and touchdown dependent.
Yes,
flex.
But that's exactly what he is now.
He's like Gus Edwards this year.
That's right. It's unbelievable.
The Henry bus.
Henry.
The Henry bus.
Yeah.
He's still fast.
Oh my God.
Hope he just falls in.
Yeah. But that's what it is. You're literally,
Kamani Henry.
Yeah. I mean, there's more commercials than touchdowns from him. Every other commercial is like a State Farm commercial from Derrick Henry. And you're just like, I'd like it if you average more than 3 yards per carry before you try to sell me insurance.
Raise the flags. Try to trade Flowers ahead of the game and bye week next week. Yeah, if you can get something, right?
Yeah.
Although,
actually, you're selling low.
Yeah, you're selling low with Lamar coming back in 2 weeks.
The Ravens, their schedule down there, they're going to come home like a steam train. If Lamar is healthy, it's like they just played the Bengals every week. They get the Bears' his first game back. That defense doesn't scare you. So look at the schedule
the Jets
here.
defense, awesome.
Bears, Dolphins, Vikings, Browns, Jets, Bengals, Steelers, Bengals. They're just going to win a lot of games. I think
the Packers in Week 17. I wonder if Week 18 at the Steelers is for the division.
It feels like it has to be.
Right?
It feels like we're headed
I'm
down.
dead serious. This feels like the way that division's going, that this could be one of those 8-9, a team that's 8-9 gets into the playoffs. Like we've seen that a couple of times, where a team with a losing record sort of backs their way into the playoffs, because the Bengals and Browns aren't going to get there, and the Steelers are probably a 500 team.
Yes, I agree. I would try and trade for Derrick Henry now, because he is so dependent on game scripts. Well, yeah, I'm just saying. I was early on fading Henry correctly, and I'm going to be early on buying him back. It's a great little market inefficiency trade.
This is absolute stock trading right now.
Make an offer.
Yeah, I will.
Make an offer. I'll trade you. Look, in the commercial break, look it over.
You can have Kendre Miller.
Yeah. Make a real offer.
Okay.
Make a real offer. I'm desperate. I'm not that desperate. I'm desperate. I'm not stupid.
Henry will trend back up.
Yeah.
My words.
I can't wait. He's going to, I can't wait. Getting me from 12th to 10th.
Yeah.
He's going to ride that train.
It's going to be a good finish right now.
It will be a good finish for King Henry. Anyway, just as it relates to the Ravens, you're probably unfortunately starting Derrick Henry, although I don't hate it if you have a better option. Like if you have Quinshon Judkins and Devontae Williams, if you have guys that you got sort of middle of the pack, you easily could have Ja'Cory Krosky-Merritt, Devontae Williams, Quinshon Judkins, all of whom went in the middle rounds, and I'd start all three of those guys over Derrick Henry this week. You feel better about any of them. So sort of check the ranks to see where you have it here, but Zay Flowers I think still has enough of a floor there with Cooper Rush, but it does,
Another quarterback.
I'm not interested in
another quarterback that could be down is Kyler Murray, dealing with a foot injury. He didn't practice on Thursday. Marvin Harrison Jr. spoke on the prospect of playing with Jacoby Brissett this weekend.
I have full trust in Jacoby. Let Jacoby get some passes in, after practice, when Kyler is, the starter. And I think just developing that kind of relationship after practice, he just get much throws in practice a little bit, so he's kind of wants to get his arm loose out there. So I've been throwing with him a little bit. So now I have full trust in Jacoby.
He loves him. Loves Jacoby Brissett. I know what that sounds like.
So smiley. I like it.
9 for 110 and a touchdown this week.
It's coming
easy
for
money.
1,000.
Easy money.
Yeah.
Just listen. That's been the challenge since Marvin Harrison Jr. got to Arizona. Is it never has seemed like him and Kyler Murray are just completely on the same page. And there's even some of the touchdowns have been like he's had to basically moss them, right?
Yes.
I mean, he's had to make unbelievable catches, and so I would not be surprised if Jacoby Brissett, who is a professional quarterback, and with all I mean that as a compliment, not as an insult, right? I agree with you, Tej. Tej says, hot take. Jacoby Brissett starts. If Jacoby Brissett starts, it will be an upgrade for MHJ. Book it. We are, in fact, booking it. I think back to the Commanders when Jacoby Brissett came in for the Sam Howell year. And he came in and all of a sudden Terry McLaurin just exploded for 3 games down the stretch because of Jacoby Brissett. Jacoby Brissett is a fine quarterback who will know, I got 2 guys. I'm going to get to McBride and to Harrison. Harrison will have a huge game. There's no question, especially against your Colts, who are, still banged up in the secondary a little bit. They're 24th against the pass.
Yeah. Right. Arizona could be in a nice throw script.
Yeah.
I love this matchup now.
Yeah, I thought it was funny that I'm
actually sort of rooting for Kyler to miss this game just for the chaos of it all.
I think you're going to get a wish.
Yeah. I thought it was funny going to check to see if the line had moved with Kyler missing practice yesterday. No, the market doesn't care.
The market doesn't think there's any difference between Kyler Murray and Jacoby Brissett, which speaks volumes.
Yeah, I think Kyler is better than Jacoby Brissett still, but the gap is not that significant.
Another starting quarterback injury. Brock Purdy didn't practice on Thursday. Still dealing with the toe injury. Mac Jones with the knee and oblique was limited on Thursday. I just picture him screaming on the ground and then smiling like 2 drives later. Wild ride watching Mac Jones play. He's quite good, though, in Kyle Shanahan's offense. Jauan Jennings was limited on Thursday, which is a good sign, Matthew, because they're going to need him. Ricky Pearsall didn't practice on Thursday. It feels like Jennings is working his way back into this offense.
Yeah, exactly. So I'm at wide receiver 27 this week. I think he's a wide receiver 3. I think, and I have Bourne at wide receiver 30. We'll talk to all these guys a little bit later. And, of course, Sunday morning on Fantasy Football pregame at 11 a.m. on YouTube right here and Peacock. Of course, I'm a company man. But I have Mac Jones as a top 12 play this week. I think no Kittle, no Pearsall or Purdy. But Jones, I think, assuming he can go, I think he's a viable streamer against the Buccaneers. That game has sneaky shootout potential. 47.5 is the current line. I might take the over there as well, given how well Baker is playing. And this 49ers offense seems to be running under Mac Jones. Right. Bourne off the big game. They get Jennings back. Of course, CMC is there. Jake Tongas has scored in 3 out of 5 games this year as a streamer tight end. So just sort of interesting there.
Chuba Hubbard not seen participating in team drills on Thursday. He's got that calf injury, Jay. It feels like Uncle Rico is going to get his revenge game wish.
Yep, Uncle Rico's going to throw it over those mountains this weekend against the Cowboys. Revenge game, as you mentioned, Connor. Uncle Rico is a must-start. A must-start if Chuba Hubbard is out as expected. Not expecting 200 rushing yards again. But 80 rushing yards and a touchdown seems plausible.
You like the matchup against Dallas. I have Hubbard currently ranked until we know he's officially out. But assuming Hubbard is out and it looks like it's trending that way, Dowdle's a top 12 play. Yep. He's an RB1 against the Cowboys. 6th most fantasy points allowed to opposing running backs, the Cowboys. They're giving that up. Dowdle had a 15%, in addition to the 200 yards, he had a 15% target share last week. Like, he's, after Tedero and McMillan, there's an argument to be made. He's their second best.
T-Mac Dowdle offense.
I mean, it's good times in Carolina.
Chris Godwin was not seen practicing on Thursday. He has a fibula injury. This is from Jeremy Fowler, who reports he's not expected to play Sunday in that game against the Niners. Just for one note here, guys, per Rick Stroud, who does a great job covering the Bucs, this is different than the fractured ankle he suffered last year. So this is a new injury that is expected to be more week to week. They do not plan to put Chris Godwin on IR, but
that's good.
I mean, maybe a little bump for Sterling Shepard here, Matthew. Somebody has to catch passes besides Emeka Egbuka. 16%
target share last week. He went 4 for 24 and a touchdown. How about Tez Johnson as well, who played 36% of the snaps, went 4 for 59, had a 12.5% target share. By the way, as we're talking about this, literally because I get alerts on my phone, producer Damien, in the Dynasty League that producer Damien and I are in, just picked up Tez Johnson.
Oh.
Damien, I'm 10-0 in that league. I the opposite of what going on. I'm 10-0 in that league right now. You play 2 games a week in that Dynasty League. I'm 10-0 and I'm playing producer Damien. Good luck. Tez Johnson is not going to lead you to victory, producer Damien.
The Slimmer Reaper.
Yeah,
Tez Johnson.
Exactly.
He's quite fast, though.
Damien might win, but it won't be because of Tez Johnson.
The Tez dispenser.
Yeah, there we go.
I like that.
That's a good one. That might stick.
The Tesla.
It's like a 7.5 out of 10.
Tez dispenser's not bad.
It just comes to me sometimes.
Quick note here. Brock Bowers didn't practice on Thursday. Michael Mayer is back at a concussion. He practiced in full on Thursday. Let's take a look at some top 6 waiver targets in case you are in a tough spot. Mac Jones, of course. Seems like he's going to play against the Bucs.
He's averaging over 19 fantasy points per game in 3 starts this year. The Traveler playing Seattle. You see him right there. I'm at QB 13 off the big game. Kenneth Gainwell makes his return against Cleveland. We don't know if Jaylen Warren is 100% healthy. He's off the injury report, but could you see Gainwell gain more time based on what he did when we saw him last? We've talked about the Chargers running backs quite a bit, but Kamani Vidal, running back 34, should be involved in the passing game as well. We'll talk about Kendrick more in a little bit, but Trey Tucker has at least 6 targets in 3 or 4 games. We just mentioned no Brock Bowers. I already mentioned Tongas, who's, has a nice match with the Buccaneers, who have allowed 4 touchdowns to tight ends in just the last 2 games. And your guy, Mason Taylor, 27% target share of the last 2 weeks. Connor, he's tight end 9 for me this week. I think he's a tight end 1 the rest of the season.
I would agree. He's their number 2 wide receiver in an NFL offense.
Yep.
So that's what it comes down to.
Number 2, a top 10 tight end the rest of the way. But yeah, to your point, he's their number 2 pass catcher.
Yes, exactly. All right, we know you have flexual frustrations. We bring in a doctor to solve them. Happy Friday to you, Denny.
Yeah, happy Friday to you. I was unfortunate enough to see Barry's ankles, of course, at the beginning of the show. Very
What's
strange
the diagnosis?
moment. But it's good TV, is what I would say, and the people need the ankles. Obviously, they asked for it.
Yeah, it's TV. It's TV. By literal definition, it is TV.
Flexual Frustrations with a certified physician, Denny Carter. Hello, Denny. Happy Friday.
Hey, same to you. And look, Barry, I stick up for your ankles, okay? I want you to remember that. When the other guys are giving you a tough time about it, we need more ankles, is what I'm saying.
I give the people what they want. That's what I do,
right.
Denny. I give the people what they want. They've demanded more ankles. They love the ankles. They're obsessed with the ankles. I'm part of the ankle wiki that they send. I've been charging. People Venmo me money and I send them pictures of the ankles, of course.
Nice.
Yeah.
Subscription service?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. And if you can upgrade to Ankle Plus, and I send you pictures of the ankles covered in baby oil, and it's a lot of stuff.
I think they banned that in Mississippi.
Yes. There's only certain states that I do it in. Yeah. But thank you, Denny. Thank you for your support.
Yeah,
Denny,
that got weird, but it's okay.
Yeah. Oh, welcome to the show.
Denny, we got a treat on Thursday Night Football a week ago. We got to see Mac Jones, kind of rekindle an old flame with Kendrick Bourne. Is there any way this lasts beyond just one game?
In my professional capacity, I would usually say don't chase that great feeling, that you had with your old flame. But in this case, I'm going to throw that out the window, okay? And I want to remind everyone I am actually a doctor. Kendrick Bourne last week had great numbers, great peripherals, 32% of the team's air yards, 22% of the team's targets against the Rams, 10 catches for 142 yards. Ricky Pearsall still out. Maybe Jauan Jennings is back, but I think Kendrick Bourne is a legit 12-team flex option this week.
By the way, I agree with that. I have Kendrick Bourne, as I mentioned. I had him as wide receiver 30, 23% target share, as you mentioned, 82% route participation. We like the matchup for Mac Jones. So I agree with you there on Kendrick Bourne. Dr. Denny Carter, I got an email in. It says, Dr. Denny, my girlfriend tells me she goes both ways and really enjoys it, and that I should try it. So my question to you, Dr. Denny, is should I do that? Should I go both ways? Should I start Travis Hunter this week?
You can, and there's nothing wrong with it, of course. Travis Hunter is increasingly not going both ways. He's sticking to just the one thing, which is offense, which is nice, which is what we wanted as fantasy geeks. He gets another good matchup this week against Seattle. Seattle is one of the most generous defenses to opposing slot receivers. Of course, Travis Hunter is operating primarily from the slot, and as you saw last week against the Chiefs, Travis Hunter finally got some downfield looks. He had an average depth of target of 16. So we like to see that. A little bit of upside for the number 2 pick overall.
Yeah. Well done, Matthew. I made the same Travis Hunter joke last week. Good to see you watch the show when you're not on it. My next one, Denny. Sometimes
I have to be clear here. To be clear, not only did I not watch the show, even when I'm on the show, I kind of glaze over with whatever you're saying.
I will back you up on that.
I
will defend you here.
No, that's fair.
But to be clear, we can never have enough going both ways jokes on this show.
It's just right there.
The segment is called Flexual Frustrations.
Sure. It is.
Yeah, 1,000%.
Play on.
Yeah.
I'll pick up the flag on that one. Yeah. Denny, sexually, flexually, sometimes it can be hard to talk to your partner, to say new things to your partner, and to make requests. Another thing that's hard to say is the name, Olamide Zaccheaus.
That's right.
Is it hard for you, Denny, to put Olamide Zaccheaus in a flex spot this week?
Olamide, Zaccheaus, however, you want to do your pillow talk about fantasy football, you just do it. And Jay, I think, you should just choose how you go about it. It's like Bijan Robinson's name. It changes every week. Anyway, he's going against Washington. He's the primary slot guy for the Bears, running 70% of his routes from the slot. The Commanders allow the 3rd highest completion rate and the most yards to slot guys in 2025. I think you can fire him up, but I am a little nervous about Luther Burden. So keep an eye on reports. Keep it locked to RotoWorld for reports on who might play the slot against the Commanders.
If you have more questions or frustrations, you can catch Denny on a live Q&A right after our show. Denny, thank you so much.
Thank you, Denny.
Thanks, guys.
Good job, Denny.
Thank you, Doctor.
All right.
Thanks.
We're taking
fellas.
our
See you
first
later.
break. When we're back, we're answering some of your best questions. What's on tap is after the break, including Fantasy Football Happy Hour Week 6 Power Rankings.
Sickening.
Oh, God. Can we get a running count of how many times Matthew has shown ankle throughout the season?
Somebody, Hey, medium show, do this. Figure out how many times I've shown my ankle through the season.
It's Saturday.
Go through and work on that, medium show.
Sucks.
Look at that.
Run while you can. All right, this per Mike Jurecki, who covers the Cardinals. JG said Kyler Murray will practice today, barring any setbacks. He'll be the starter on Sunday versus the Colts. So that 2 minutes of us being very hyped about Marvin Harrison Jr., with Jacoby Brissett is gone. But good for Kyler Murray in the Cardinals.
Yeah. By the way, JG there stands for Jonathan Gannon, not Jason Garrett, in case anyone was confused.
No.
And Kyler Murray stands for Kyler Murray.
$100,000 poorer, Jonathan Gannon?
Yeah,
I think
something like that. As a Colts fan, are you happy or sad that Kyler Murray is going to be starting versus Jacoby Brissett?
Completely indifferent. I fear no one. I fear absolutely no one. He's going into the Valley of the Beast. The 85 Bears.
Yeah,
exactly. 2025 Colts.
For the shoe.
All right, let's take a look at the Week 6 regular power rankings.
By the way, real quick, no, sorry.
The power rankings.
Here we go. Fine, go. Fine, screw it. Go ahead.
It's the most important part of the week.
Wait, Clark Brady's still number one?
He's number one forever, man.
I mean, he watched 12 hours of us.
You get like a 2-month grace period.
Is that what it is?
Yeah.
Raise the Flags moving up to number 2 overall. Wow, that's a big jump.
It's been a good week for Raise the Flags. As is Stuntman Chuck.
Who do I think you are? Cracks the top 10.
Yeah.
After much lobbying.
I mean, it's about time.
Jay Stabs down to, well, a tough week for Jay Stabs. Johnny dangerously moving up in the ranks, which I see. I like that. Tej finally making his debut.
I mean, it's another one about time.
Well,
Jay and I had to get involved.
Yeah, I don't like Jonathan Medici 7 falling down the ranks. He's on Instagram commenting about Keanu Reeves films, stacking them head to head. That's behavior that should get you into the top 3.
Yeah,
that's fair.
So anyway, Julio, think you are. Producer Steven's burner account making the list.
No shock. He sneaks himself into 10.
Exactly. But you know what? I do agree with Aloha Bricks moving up the ranks. He's had a strong week.
Yes.
Aloha Bricks.
A lot of good content from Aloha
like
Bricks.
Alabama beating
A lot of
Georgia.
good questions. What's on Tap is brought to you by Bud Light, the official beer sponsor of the NFL. Sundays are easy to enjoy when they are full of football and the fridge is filled with beer. We're going to make it even easier for you by taking some of the best questions of the week. And first up here, regular number 1, of course, raise the flags over here. We're number 1 in our hearts.
Yeah,
it's going to be hard to
I think
unseat
he
Clark
was number
Brady.
2.
Would you guys trade Zay Flowers and Travis Etienne for Josh Jacobs, half point PPR?
Yes. See, I think I would. That's a fair deal, as we talked about earlier with Derrick Henry. Same thing. Lamar Jackson's going to come back after the bye, and it's a pretty easy schedule. So Zay Flowers should have a nice run. But I feel like Etienne is a bit of a sell high. It's been sort of, again, risen up by these long touchdown runs. He's not really involved in the passing game here. The Jaguars' offense is getting better, but Josh Jacobs is so solid. It's a very good offense. I just feel like he's probably at 80% to score a touchdown in every single game. So it's a fair deal, but Josh Jacobs is the best player in that trade, and I think I want the best player. But I wouldn't, I probably would do the deal.
Not crazy, but I think the main thing there is to sell high on Etienne, because his production so far has been very dependent on these long runs. He's not getting any receiving game work. I think it's going to trend down for Travis.
Our next question is from Erica, looking to trade for running back help. Who should I try to sell? Keenan Allen, Xavier Worthy, or Jay, who we just discussed, and Marvin Harrison Jr.?
I think Keenan Allen is the guy that you want to sell. I think there's so much upside in Xavier Worthy, even with the shot. We'll see what his status is for this week. But Marvin Harrison Jr., I still think there's too much upside. There's too much talent. Keenan Allen, the thing is with the Chargers, what I've been on all along, is that Ladd McConkey has to trend up. And the guy who's going to trend down, I think, as a result of that is Keenan Allen.
He's an older player as well, so you might be selling high a little bit on Keenan Allen. My answer is here, whichever one of the 3 of them get you the most in return. Candidly, I can make an argument for or against all of them, as you just mentioned. I think Keenan Allen's probably the best of the 3 of those guys right now in terms of consistent production week in, week out. And Xavier Worthy, he keeps getting banged up. We don't know what it's going to look like once Rashee Rice comes back. We've only got 1 more week until Rashee Rice comes back. So there's a lot of unknown and variance there. And again, Marvin Harris Jr., it's been better this year, but Kyler has been inconsistent. So for me, the answer is whichever one gets you the most in return. I have no problem dealing any of them.
Our last question from Victor Very. Flex options, Sutton, White, or Keenan Allen for week 6. Let's take a look at, Matthew, your running back ranks here.
Yeah.
Help with a solution.
Yeah, and I think Rachaad White is the answer here. I like all 3 of these guys. I don't think, Victor, that you can go wrong, but you see I have Rachaad White after the Thursday night game now as a top 11 play. We've talked about this, is that the San Francisco 49ers actually top 5 in terms of most receptions allowed to opposing running backs. So Rachaad White, who got 75% of the team's running back touches last week, 12.5% target share, no Bucky Irving in this game, no Chris Godwin, no Mike Evans. They're going to lean heavily on Rachaad White in a game at home in which they're favored.
That'll do it for What's on Tap, presented by Bud Light. Easy to drink, easy to enjoy. We're taking one last break. What do you got?
Chuba Hubbard officially out for the weekend.
Uncle Rico time.
And Jalen Coker is a game-time decision. Cokeheads unite. He might be back, worthy of a stash if he's available in your league.
The Kingpin returns.
Pickup lines after this. DraftKings Sportsbook is an official sports betting partner of the NFL. New customers can bet $5 and get $200 in bonus bets if your bet wins. Just download the Sportsbook app and use promo code FFHH when you sign up. DraftKings Sportsbook.
The crown is yours.
Oh, the crown's yours.
Crown's yours. Time for
don't ask who the crown belongs to because it's yours.
Pick up lines time. Jay has bounced back. I have spiraled. Jay is 3-2. You know how I lost last week?
I do.
Tony Pollard's last carry.
Yeah, I saw
it was a 12-yard carry that got him 1 yard over the prop. I had it in the bag and I lost on the last carry because the Cardinals meltdown. It happens. That's gambling.
There you go.
So let's bounce back here, Matthew. I'm going to give you Rams.
Who wants to bring these ankles home?
I do. Rams minus 7.5. Listen, no Lamar Jackson.
Yes, sir.
The Rams are coming off a loss with 10 days rest. You know, they're ultra locked in. The Ravens are playing third and fourth stringers across this defense right now. I think the Rams are going to light them up. The Ravens are going to bounce back this year, but not this week with Cooper Rush under center. I actually think this line will close closer 8.5, 9.
Yep. Yeah. To be clear, I don't want to take the ankles home, but I will give you a bet as part of the segment. I'm going to take Patrick Mahomes over 257.5 passing yards on Sunday Night Football. I'm company man. Patrick Mahomes, a couple years ago when he was winning MVPs, when it was old Patrick Mahomes, he was routinely set around 300 yards. I think that guy is back, and I think this offense is back. Josh Simmons has really stepped up at left tackle. He has protection. He's gone for 270 and over 310 the past 2 weeks. Detroit Lions don't have any corners. They don't have any cornerbacks left. Terry and Arnold out, DJ Reed out. Even Jake Browning's able to light them up in the second half, even though it was in garbage time. So I think Patrick Mahomes, in a game with the Chiefs, their season on the line, then only go 2-4. I think that Mahomes unleashes the cannons. He gets at least 258 passing yards.
I like both these bets, but because that's a primetime game where I could see Mahomes like running a lot as well, and I could see the Lions kind of stepping up, and because you don't want to go home with the ankles, but Connor,
you have to want the ankles.
Yeah, you got to want the ankles. So I agree with him. I think the Rams kill him here. I like the Rams over 7.5, getting the 7.5. I agree with you. It closes closer to 8.5 or 9. So I'm going home with Connor. But I do like both bets.
Okay.
So there you go.
Enjoy the ankles.
Can't wait.
Yeah, no. Keep the phone on. I might hit you up on the way home.
Yeah, I'll put it airplane mode.
Yeah. I might just stop by. Yeah. I might just stop by.
Airplane mode.
What's up? By the way, Zach Taylor, real quickly, Zach Taylor announcing that Jamar Chase got sick last night and is officially questionable for Sunday. Why can't we ever have nice things? Fantasy football pregame, 11 a.m. on Sunday. It's closing time. You don't have to go home. You can't stay here. For Jay and Connor, I'm Matthew. We'll see you Sunday morning for pregame. Peace out.